Most people think that going broke comes from one mistake, a missed payment, a bad investment, a sudden crisis. But the truth is that people don't fall into being broke, they drift there. Through small habits ignored, decisions delayed, and money left unmanaged, it's the quiet daily inaction that adds up. Because doing nothing isn't harmless, it's expensive, and it compounds over time. The biggest threat to your financial future isn't a bad decision, it's doing nothing at all. Take investing. Most people think it's no big deal to wait weeks, months, or even years to start investing. They assume delaying isn't a problem. They spend now and worry about the future later. It's not that they don't care, it's just they don't realize the consequences of their inaction. The reality is that small investments compound for you, but small delays compound against you. Time can't be recovered. When it's gone, it's gone. Let me give you an example. Let's say you invest $200 a month at a 7% annual return with the goal of retiring at 55. If you start at 25 years of age, that means you can invest for 30 years, and at these rates, you can have an end value of $227,000. But if you only start investing at 35 years of age, then you can only invest for 20 years, and at these rates, you'll only have an end value of $100,000. Think about that for a second, because despite the fact that you invested the same amount of money every single month, in the end, you have less than half the value you would have otherwise had if you hadn't delayed. That's the power and the price of compounding time. The most common, but actually also the most compelling metaphor for this is that investing is like planting a tree. If you're 25 and the tree has 30 years to grow, then it's likely it'll bear fruit, that it will have wide branches and deep roots. But if you wait till you're 35 years old and this tree has only 20 years to grow, it'll be smaller and bear less fruit. The cost of waiting for a perfect moment, a bigger paycheck, or even to have more knowledge just pushes your future returns further away. Every day is quite literally a lost opportunity to make your money work for you. To bang this home, there's a report from Fidelity that says that for long-term investors, 70% of their total returns comes from compounding, not from the amount that they put in. This means that starting earlier is far more powerful than starting later and trying to contribute more. There really is no way around it. Delays compound. Every day you wait, the price of inaction goes up. The reason why most people don't build wealth through investing and still stay broke isn't from lack of money, it's from lack of movement. And the same is true for how 99% of people spend their money. I've seen people drift into autopilot, spending their money without concernment, without looking at where it's going. And then they're confused and frustrated later when that money disappears month by month, paycheck by paycheck. They don't overspend on purpose. They do it without noticing. One check disappears, then another, and they're left wondering why they're stuck, why they're still broke. Now you would think that making more money would fix this. Life would be better. But the truth is, it doesn't. People increase their income, but they still stay broke. Why? Because of inaction. If this happens to you, then you know, right? That you get a little bit more money and then you suddenly upgrade your life. You get a nicer apartment, a nicer car, another subscription. It doesn't have to be so big. Whatever it is, you do it because you think you've earned it. But over time, these little upgrades become normal. What once was luxury, now is normal, and normal is expensive. The danger here isn't that it's happening, it's doing nothing about it. Most people I talk to don't even realize that they're stuck in this trap. Or then even if they do, they decide to wait. Wait to have more money, wait to have more time, or wait to feel more ready. But believing that they'll take action later is the very thing that stops them from taking action now. The promise of action tomorrow becomes the excuse for inaction today. There's a survey by Northwestern Mutual that says that 1 in 3 Americans admit to expanding their lifestyle to match their income. And because they let this happen, because they did nothing about it, despite having more income, they still stayed broke. The reality is that inaction allows for default behaviors like overspending to take over. It's not that you're consciously choosing to overspend, it's that inaction hands control over to habits you didn't choose. You find that if you're not directing your money, your habits will, and often in the wrong direction. Without taking action to develop new money habits, new money systems, and new money mindsets, nothing will change. You will still stay broke. The definition of stupidity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Something needs to change, and you need to be the one to change it. Look, there's this great quote I read recently which might help, and it says, "What you ignored now demands your attention later, but with interest." It stuck with me because it sums up a lot of what keeps people broke. Choosing not to act immediately inflates the cost of acting later. Avoiding money decisions doesn't make them go away, it just makes them more expensive down the road. In the finance world, for example, it's common knowledge to know that people who delay their financial planning have higher debt, lower credit scores, and often have more financial stress later in life. Ignoring money decisions and issues now just makes them harder and more expensive in the long run. It's like having a slow leak in your roof. It might seem small now, but if you do nothing about it, it'll flood your house. The truth is that the longer you choose inaction over action, the longer you'll stay broke. But the second you choose to act is the second everything can change. It's not hard to start investing. It's not hard to have money systems. It's not even hard to deal with money issues as they come up. None of this is hard. You don't need to be a financial guru. You don't need to be a businessman. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. You only have to act. There are things you can do this week alone that might mean you're no longer broke. You can create a budget so you stop wasting money. You can ask for a pay rise so you start making more money. You can learn how to invest so that you can use that money to build wealth, and you can automate your savings and investments so this system runs in the background even when you're not motivated. You could quite literally do this in 1 week. Now sure, it might be a hard week, but a hard week is a small price to pay to not be broke. Look, at the top of this video I said that people don't fall into being broke, they drift there through habits ignored, decisions delayed, and money unmanaged. But what if this wasn't you? What if you paid attention to your habits and didn't ignore them and created systems to counteract them? What if you made decisions quickly instead of delaying so that you could take advantage of offers and from compounding time? And what if you didn't leave your money unmanaged and in fact you started to manage it? You automated your savings and investments and you started spending money on things that only give you great joy and cut everything else. If everything you're doing right now leads you to be broke, then you just need to do the opposite. You need to find the things you're not doing. You need to find the moments of inaction, and you need to prioritize movement. Being bad with money is just another way of saying inaction, and being good with money is just another way of saying action.